What makes us human? Is it our biology, or is it the way we are raised? In 1931, a psychological researcher named Winthrop Kellogg set out to answer this question. But his method was something no ethical board would ever approve today. He decided to take a 7-month-old female chimpanzee named Gua and raise her in his own home exactly like a human child. But Gua wasn't alone. She was raised side by side with Kellogg's own 10-month-old infant son, Donald. The rules of the experiment were strict. There would be no cages, no chains. Gua was dressed in human clothes, fed with a spoon, and seated at the family dining table. Kellogg and his wife treated the chimpanzee and their son as absolute equals. The ultimate goal: to see if a chimpanzee, surrounded entirely by human culture, would eventually start acting, thinking, and perhaps even speaking like a human. At first, the results were astonishing. In the early months, Gua was actually winning the developmental race. She adapted to her new environment with terrifying speed. She learned to walk upright, use a spoon flawlessly, and open doors. She even showed deep human-like affection, giving kisses and asking for forgiveness when she made a mistake. For a brief moment, it seemed like Kellogg's utopian theory was right. The chimpanzee was becoming humanized. Donald and Gua played together, ate together, and slept in the same room. But nature has a strict limit, and they were about to hit a massive psychological wall. As the months passed and the children turned 1 year old, the dynamic completely shifted. Donald's human brain began its complex development, while Gua reached her absolute cognitive peak. No matter how much love or human interaction she received, Gua could not form words. Her physical advantages no longer mattered. The chimpanzee had stopped evolving, but that wasn't the reason the experiment was suddenly and aggressively shut down. The true nightmare wasn't that the chimpanzee failed to become human, it was what happened to the human baby. As they spent every waking second together, Donald didn't pull Gua up to his level. Instead, the baby began to descend into the primal world of the chimpanzee. Because Gua couldn't learn to speak English, Donald simply stopped trying. The human child's language development froze entirely. But it got worse. Donald began to mimic Gua's primal behaviors. He stopped walking and started crawling heavily on all fours. When he was hungry, he didn't cry or ask for food. He barked like a wild primate. He started grunting, biting people, and aggressively panting when he wanted a toy. The human child was rapidly losing his humanity. Kellogg watched in absolute horror as his own son slipped away into animalistic behavior. The realization hit him like a shock wave. He wasn't humanizing the chimpanzee. He was erasing the human from his son. 9 months into the project, on March 28, 1932, the experiment was abruptly terminated. Gua was immediately separated from the family and sent back to a primate center, taking Donald's only sibling away forever. The 1931 Kellogg experiment remains a chilling reminder. We often believe that human nature is an unbreakable force, but sometimes, when you stare too long into the wild becomes a part of you.